There's nothing quite like your first time experiencing something, or your first time, in this case, doing something. And why wouldn't it be? It's your first time, and you're very impressionable for a first experience. In terms of your first time experiencing something, usually remember where you were, who you were with, and what you were particularly doing in that heat of the moment experience. And why should this be any different? In this case, I'm going to be talking about me and the survival horror genre, and how I got entrenched with it in the first place, and the moment it ultimately shaped me. There's a beauty and a tragedy towards this moment I'm going to try to play up for you guys. The beauty being, it was my first true experience in terms of terror. My first real time in terms of a video game absolutely terrifying me, in terms of absolute horror. The first time I really just didn't know what to do, and I was frozen in fear. But a tragedy, because at the end of the day, once you've gone through this experience, you try to get that same feeling again, but unfortunately, while there are terrifying moments, never quite like your first time. Hence the beauty and tragedy part. But nonetheless, this is my story on my first and maybe last really true scare. What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more DinoCrisis gameplay for you. And today I'm going to tell a story I've wanted to tell for a little while. And it is the story of my first true experience, not just in playing a survival horror game, my first one in DinoCrisis, but my first really true scare. And I guess, depending on how you look at it, maybe my last true scare as well. Now, to begin here with, I want people to understand this. When you play a genre for the first time, you obviously have to learn the tricks to the trade. You have to learn how things work out. And let me tell you something. My experience with DinoCrisis was a very eye-opening experience for me. My two favorite genres in games are survival horror and JRPG. So how DinoCrisis was to me was kind of similar to how Final Fantasy VII was for me in JRPGs. I had never played either one of them, but both of them, when I had my first experience with, even though I was completely lost, confused, completely out of my depth, out of my comfort zone, both games completely entranced me in terms of the genre. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII being the first JRPG game I played and forever made me want to play more JRPG games like it. And eventually, getting to survival horror, which we're going to be talking about today, and the DinoCrisis franchise, and how it eventually got me to want to play and seek out more survival horror games in the process. But getting back to DinoCrisis, the first thing I learned the hard way is not just learning how the controls work, but learning that where in the world do I go and how do I get past all these seemingly imposing enemies that constantly want to impede my every progress, constantly want to rip me in half, and not knowing what to do. Obviously, when you've never played any survival horror game before, that's usually the biggest thing that confuses and sometimes frustrates a lot of newer players. They don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, and they keep getting punished by all the enemies. And unlike maybe the normal zombies in like Resident Evil, for say, the Velociraptors are fast, quick, agile, and it will be on your ass 24/7. And even when you think, hey, I got outside the door, I'm safe, my friends, they will come out there and they will chase you down. So I'm starting to get to a point where I just feel extremely vulnerable. I'm lost and confused and I don't know what to do. And it doesn't seem like wherever I go, every door I go to, even if I'm able to get in it, if it's not already locked, doesn't give me much to do. You find some keys, but it seems like they never get you to the door you need to go to. As I'm trying to basically recreate my experience the first time. Obviously, once you know where everything goes, what to do, you get the whole memo of what you got to do. But that first experience, reliving that, man, I couldn't even recreate that because even me trying to recreate it, it can't quite come close to how bad I was. I mean, I was terrible. I mean, Regina's limping here now, but honestly, I might as well have just been crawling at this point because I didn't know what to do. Hell, I don't even think I knew half the items what they even meant was. I mean, I don't even think I knew what a hemostat was. What's the difference between Red Cross, Blue Cross? I don't know. I'm not even double-digit years in age at this point. I'm only single digit at this point in 1999. I don't know what the heck is going on. And it seems like everything I click, there's nowhere to go, nowhere to do. But one thing I can guarantee that's going to happen is that Velociraptor, once he gets out the door, is going to be constantly chasing after me. I'm lost. I don't know what a DTK is. And yeah, that experience, I think a lot of people can recall, especially in their first time survival horror experience. But after getting mauled to death, ripped open to death, constantly dying, continuing, getting lost. And remember, this is kind of before the real dawn of the internet. Eventually, I figure out what I have to have and where I need to go to. So I do get the whole key cards to get inside the room. That's forever going to shape my destiny in a way. But after I barely make it into here, and luck on my side here with a DDK, and I'll be honest with you guys, this confused me so much as a kid. I didn't know what the heck to do, what I need to type in. And this was the easy one. They get harder and harder, the puzzles in DinoCrisis. But eventually, after much stress and anxiety, I eventually figure out where I need to go, what I need to type in to get inside this room. And this room is forever going to shape me. And that is the Chief's room. Oh boy, do I remember this. How could I? It's forever imprinted on me. It's the moment that basically got me forever in survival horror and forever entrenched in this series. But I'll try to build it up as best as possible so you can understand my feelings, because they're only unique to me, but maybe you can understand it as well. So I finally meet this scientist, and who's basically on the death's door. He gives me something that I'm thinking, okay, I got something I can maybe open some other doors. I see some items scattered in the room, and I'm a little bit excited. I'm like, hey, I got some key cards. I got some more materials. I don't know what this does. I don't know where it goes to or what else, but it's got to be good, right? Oh, shotgun shells. Maybe I should have paid more attention to them when I picked it up. But nonetheless, I see this whole thing here. Looks like a data disk. I got it. This thing looks a little bit particularly suspicious. I examined it, and yeah, that's when it happened. My first really true, absolutely horror scare in a video game. Guys, I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. I didn't fire a single bullet at him when this first happened. I was basically a deer in headlights, or in this case, a Regina in a T-Rex's sights. And I just stood there and basically accepted my doom. But what happened? Why did this moment shake me so much? Recall what I said earlier. Your first time. There's nothing quite like your first time in anything you do in life. And this first experience of really being caught off guard, not knowing it was coming. Once you know, but when you don't know and it completely blindsides you, sort of the curveball that you do not see coming, you're very impressionable, especially if it's your first experience. I did not have any clue inkling that a T-Rex was going to bust through here and I'm going to have to fight him this early in the game. But that's exactly what happened. And it absolutely froze me in terror. You might be thinking though, alright, I can understand that to a degree, but this is still your most terrifying video game experience? Yes, it is. Because the thing about me and how my brain works, once you experience something, your brain is almost programmed to be conditioned to that. It's not that I haven't experienced anything else terrifying in video games, quite the contrary. I mean, I've played so many survival horror games. Alien Isolation, which I've covered earlier this year. Resident Evil 7. Silent Hill 2. I mean, you name it. There's so many terrifying survival horror games. But the problem is that they didn't come before this moment. Had they did, they'd probably be on here instead of this game. But because this was my first time experiencing it, and first time really being in a moment that I did not expect, that catches me completely off guard, the T-Rex busting through the wall here really early in the game, is forever going to be the thing that gives him an ultimate scare. But recall what I said earlier as well. That's the tragedy of it. I have been playing survival horror games since then. So basically about 25 years. And for 25 years, there's not been one survival horror game that's ever made me that terrified in my life. Not even close. And no matter how many I play, and no matter how effective and good they are, they just can't quite get to that level of horror. But it doesn't stop me from trying, though. Maybe it's possible, but it'll be damn near impossible in this case. Yep, there's nothing quite like your first time. But as I always like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. What is your really first true horror scare in a video game? And because of going through that experience, that make it so that everything else afterward kind of doesn't make it as terrifying because you went through that and you can kind of see things coming from a mile away. And maybe possibly the impossible happened and something actually overrid that over time. I like to hear your personal story because they interest me. But nonetheless, that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.